Hi guys, so I know I've talked a lot about my EF Ultimate Break trip to Greece, but I wanted to do a day-by-day breakdown and give you guys the names of the hotels we stayed at and the restaurants we went to, and just, so you can get a really good feel about what the trip actually was. So the trip is 11 days, and the first day actually is just flying to Greece. So we flew from North Carolina to Atlanta, which was about an hour and a half maybe, and then we flew from overnight from Atlanta to Athens, and that was about an 8-hour trip. We did get multiple meals on the plane and snacks, and we had a row just to my husband and I, just to ourselves, just 2 seats. So that was really nice. EF Ultimate Break, if you tell them that you're traveling with someone, and they'll link your account. That way you guys can fly out together, have plane seats next to each other, all of that good stuff. So you don't have to worry about, are we gonna be on the same flight, or are we even gonna be able to sit next to each other? So you don't have to think about any of that. Okay, so day 1 was just flying and getting to Greece. So day 2, after your overnight flight to Athens, we arrived in Athens in Greece. And beforehand, our tour director on the WhatsApp group message had sent us directions, very specific meeting points of where to meet the driver at the airport. So we met there, my husband and I got there. They had a big sign that said EF Ultimate Break. And then they had a clipboard with everyone's names and arrival times. Our plane, I think, was like 30 minutes late, but again, that's why it's so important to have the WhatsApp, because then you can tell your tour director in case you do have delays, so that way they can wait for you. So after everyone got there for that time frame of arrival, we went to our private transfer, kind of like coach motor bus. And it was just our group, and our driver drove from the airport to our hotel in Athens, which was about 45 minutes, and we stayed at the Moxie Hotel. It's very Americanized. It was very clean, beautiful. The rooms were ready right away, which we weren't expecting. The breakfast buffet was probably the best breakfast. And the water pressure in the showers was incredible, but I also like really hot showers, so maybe that's just me, but I really enjoyed the Moxie. So after we all got our hotel room numbers, we went up, we took a shower, we kind of unpacked, unwound for like maybe an hour and a half, and then we did a quick walking tour of the city, and then we went to our welcome dinner with our tour director, and that welcome dinner is included in every price for every EF Ultimate Break trip. It was a 3-course dinner with drinks. Before we arrived there, again, WhatsApp group message, our tour director had said these were the different options for the dinner, for the dinner. And so we gave those to her ahead of time, so they were ready to go because we were starving. It was really nice. And then at that dinner, we got to know everyone, did some like conversation. Our tour director gave us a super cute little change purse, since a lot of Greece is cash. So that way everyone wasn't just carrying around like random Euro coins in their purse, losing them. It was really nice and really thoughtful and honestly useful. The day we arrived in Athens also happened to be my husband's birthday, and everyone found out, and they had him get extra dessert, and everyone sang him happy birthday, which was really sweet because he wasn't gonna acknowledge it. And then after dinner, we went and did some more shopping, looked at the squares. Our tour director took us to a little section of Athens called Little Kook. I'll put up a picture of it to see, but it's super popular on like Instagram. It's always one of those places that they say, you should see if you're in Athens. It's theme changes every few months, I think, maybe every 6 months. And it's just super eccentric and lit up, and it's super pretty. It's definitely worth seeing. I will say it is crowded, so if you don't like that, you might just want to look at it and then leave, but that's just personal preference. And then after we finished up with Little Kook, we went back to the hotel because we were super tired. We got a drink at the bar downstairs with a couple of the other people from our group, which was really nice, got to know them a little better. A few people from our group decided to go out to some of the bars that our tour director had recommended, but we ended up just going to sleep because we were exhausted, and we knew we had an early morning the next day. All right, so day 3, we were still in Athens. We woke up maybe around 7 o'clock. We got a huge breakfast buffet down at the Moxie. It was very Americanized since Europeans don't eat a lot of breakfast foods like we do, but they had all the different options of breakfast meats, eggs, pastries. They had like a juice bar, they had a granola bar, they had a bunch of fruit. It was just, there was a lot of options. And then after breakfast, we all went to the Acropolis and we had an Acropolis tour. We were there from like maybe 8 to 11 o'clock and we walked around. The director of the tour, because it wasn't our tour director doing that specific tour, they have someone else come in who's an expert in the Athens area. And they did the Acropolis tour, so we did that. We had plenty of time to take pictures, and then we met up and we went back and we had some more time to do shopping. I know our tour director recommended we do most of our shopping in Athens and Perros because they were way less expensive, and in Santorini and Mykonos you're gonna find the same kinds of souvenirs, but they're gonna be like double the price just because of the location. So after some extra shopping, we got gelato for the first time, which we were super excited about. We went back to the hotel and got ready because our tour director had given us the option to attend an excursion that she had planned. I think it was about 60 euros, maybe 50, I can't remember. That was a tour of Poseidon's temple, and then we went to a private beach bar afterwards, which was super nice. So we got on a big bus. We actually ended up meeting up with another EF tour group because the bus was so big and they were gonna do the same tour. So we all went together. We went to a couple different historical sites. We kind of got the inside scoop on all the different history behind all the different sites, and then we arrived at this beautiful beach bar. I will say a tip that I wish I had thought about. So a lot of the beaches in Greece are rocky or they're black sand, so it's really hot and not super awesome to walk on. So I wish I had brought like some rubber sandals or water shoes, but it was still great. So we had that. We had chairs and sofas on the beach, and it was a bar so you could get drinks, but then was also a full kitchen. So we spent, I would say, a good 5 or 6 hours there. We were there past sundown, and then we went back to our hotel room, and we knew that we had a super early wake up time for our first ferry to get to Santorini the next day. Our tour director, Alex, was amazing because every day she would send us the next day's schedule, so we never had to question what time we needed to be someplace or what we were doing. It was all there, and we could reference that if we ever had questions. All right, so day 4, we were gonna travel to Santorini. We had to wake up and be on the bus at 5 a.m. I was a little hungover, so this was, not gonna lie, so it was a little hard. The breakfast buffet wasn't even open yet at the Moxie, so our tour director had arranged for us to kind of have grab and go breakfast to eat on the bus to the ferry site. That was about maybe like a 30-minute drive, and it was just our group. We went and got to the ferry, first ferry of the day. I will warn you, the ferries are super overwhelming, very chaotic. I don't know how people do it without someone leading the group because I would have been super lost. But the ferries were super nice and they were ginormous. So even though you get like assigned seats on your ticket, no one checks or cares, and our group kind of got like a section of the ferry that was just us. A lot of us slept during that time, played games. There was a cafe, a few cafes in the ferry, so you could get drinks, you could get, you know, breakfast, you could get donuts. They had really good, like, ginormous sugar donuts. They had bathrooms, and it was tough because it was our longest ferry. They start out the trip with the longest ferry, which is gonna be 5 hours. I don't think I had realized how long that ferry was gonna be, so that was a little shocking, but overall it really wasn't that bad at all. So once we got to Santorini, once again, We had a private transfer waiting for us when we got off the ferry in Santorini, and they took us to our hotel, which was the Olympic Hotel in Santorini. It wasn't right in Oia, it was right outside of Thera, which is their capital. So once again, when we got to the hotel, we were super lucky. We could drop all of our bags there, and we had, once again, our tour director, who was amazing, had asked if we would be interested in going to one of her friends' beach clubs, since our rooms weren't ready yet. So we dropped off all of our stuff, changed to go to the beach, and it was actually a beautiful black sand beach on the island. We had beds reserved for us with umbrellas, and there was waiter service for food and drinks and anything, and it was just like a really nice, relaxing, after a super long ferry, it was nice to just relax on the beach. We were there for maybe like 4-ish hours, and then again our private transfer took us back to the hotel so we could shower, and then our tour director had reserved a rooftop dinner for us in Thera, which was amazing, because Santorini is known for their gorgeous sunset, so this way we could eat dinner and watch that sunset without any obstructed view. It was totally worth it. Honestly, it might have been one of my favorite dinners the entire trip, just because the scenery, the food was amazing. I'll put the name of the restaurant right here. And then, you know, before and after dinner, we were able to kind of explore Thera, do a little bit of light shopping, get some gelato, you know, that's #1 priority, eat all the different foods. And then after dinner, after the sun went down, we all went to a couple bars, nothing crazy, and really enjoyed ourselves. All of the group ended up going together because, again, we just liked each other. So we all went to the place together. There was a couple people in our group that didn't drink or weren't really fans of going out. No one cared. This isn't just for if people want to go out drinking. No one is going to judge you if you don't feel like taking those drinks or don't feel like going out. A lot of the times my husband and I couldn't stay awake for as long as everyone else, but again, no one cared. It's just personal preference. So we did all of those little bars, and then our tour director took us to one of the oldest clubs in Athens called the Coup Club, where we had a private table and a couple bottles of champagne brought to us, and it was just nice to hang out. It wasn't too crazy, too crowded, and it was just a nice, relaxing, like it wasn't like you couldn't talk to people. And again, it was just nice to, I don't know, hang out. All right, so day number 5. We were still in Santorini. We woke up and had breakfast. It was nothing special, nothing spectacular. A pretty standard European breakfast. Lots of toast and like deli meats and cheeses. Some pastries, nothing crazy, but it was free and it was food, so I'm not gonna complain. That morning we were supposed to do a volcano hike and then swim in it, but unfortunately, because it's such a pricey activity that our tour director had planned ahead of time, we missed how many people we needed because one person from our trip ended up catching COVID, so they didn't come. So she wasn't able to get the bus. We weren't able to combine with another group to meet that minimum number. So we had the free morning. My husband went and took a nap. I ended up going to the hotel pool with some of the girls, reading a book and relaxing. And later on, we went with another couple who was on the trip and kind of walked the streets to get some lunch and just kind of walk around, wander, see what it had to do. I know other people in our group ended up going to Thera to do some more shopping. Someone in our group actually took my tour director up on her offer to help get us a private transfer to Oia, and she watched the sunrise. I don't think I would have wanted to go that early because I did want to sleep a little bit more, but I do wish that my husband and I had done that and gone from maybe 9 to noon, just to see it before it got super crowded, because it was still beautiful, but I think I would have had a lot more relaxed time if I had done that. But that's just personal preference. If you don't care about that or don't care about, you know, people in your pictures or waiting in lines, like, it's really not a big deal at all. So everyone kind of got to do what they wanted to do in the morning. It really is whatever you want to make it. They're pretty relaxed on letting you decide what you want to participate in and don't want to participate in. And then at 2 o'clock, we met in the lobby for our private transfer for the winery tour that EF is an optional add-on. So we went ahead and did that. So it starts off at 2 p.m. and they take you to the highest point on the island, which was really, really pretty. We enjoyed it. And then afterwards, we went to another town in Santorini, and it was beautiful. We walked around, took some pictures, got to know a little bit of the history of Santorini, which was really fun. And then we finally went to the winery, which was amazing. I think we tasted maybe like 10 different types of wine. They had some food laid out for us, and then afterwards our tour director bought a couple bottles of wine so that we could all share it and take pictures. And that was personally super special for me because we had actually planned to go on this trip in 2020, and my husband was supposed to, or had planned to, propose at that winery. So it was extra special for me to be able to see that, but it was gorgeous. Okay, so after we did the winery, then we took our bus to Oya, and it was as beautiful and picturesque as all the movies, all the books, all the pictures, all the Instagram. It is as beautiful as they say it is. The only thing that I wasn't prepared for, and I think this was just me being naive, was the crowds, because it does get more crowded because everything kind of comes alive closer to the evening. So we set up a meeting time and place for our group, and our tour director gave us some suggestions if we wanted places to go. So me and a few other people decided to go, and we got dinner because we were all starving. And then we went to the Blue Domes, but there was a super long line and no one felt like waiting for that long. At the end of the day, I feel like I kind of wish we had, only because, like, yeah, it was annoying, but like, when else are you gonna do that? So again, just personal preference. If you didn't care, it doesn't really matter. We ended up finding another spot to take pictures at where the Blue Domes were in the background, just kind of far in the distance, but it was still beautiful. We got to watch the sunset. It was just, I loved it. Our tour director did suggest going to the castle at the end of the island, which is where a lot of the famous pictures are and the best view of the sunset. Again, we decided not to do that, but that's just personal preference. You do, according to her, we needed to get there maybe like in 90 minutes before sunset to even find a spot because it is that popular. And then after the sun went down, we went and met our group at our designated location, which was a gelato shop. So of course we had to try more gelato, and then we all went on our private transport back to the hotel. All right, so day 6. This is when we decided to travel to Perros. So we woke up around maybe like 6 or 7 o'clock, met for the transfer to our ferry so we could be at the front of the line. The ferry was about 3 hours if I remember correctly. And then once again, we had private transportation waiting for us. It was kind of funny because the transportation, the hotel was only like maybe half a mile away, but we didn't have to walk it after the ferry, so that was nice. It was the Polos Hotel. I'll put a picture of it right here. It was beautiful, but I will say I think it was my least favorite hotel, only because the hot water was kind of spotty, and the blankets, they weren't very thick. We could have asked for more blankets at the front desk, but we were just lazy. So that's nothing against the hotel, that's just our problem. Like I said, it was super cute. We had a beautiful balcony that you could look at the water, and it was really central to places to walk in Perros. They do put this island in the middle of the trip because it's a much more low-key island. It's where a lot of local people vacation. So definitely had that feel. I could tell it wasn't like just an Instagram place, like people were there on vacation relaxing. We actually were supposed to that night have our included dinner because we were on the Ultimate Plus version, so we got an extra included dinner. But our tour director had offered to take us to her friend's private beach bar where we could have a 3-course dinner, do some traditional Greek dancing, break plates, like all of that good stuff. So we decided to do that. Everyone in the group wanted to, so we actually had our included dinner from EF switched to an included lunch, and that restaurant was right next to our hotel. Again, 3 courses, dessert, drinks. It was amazing. The food in Greece, I can't get over. It makes me hungry just talking about it. So anyway, after that happened, we did a private transport to the beach club, which was maybe like 10 minutes. It wasn't that far. And it was a beautiful sandy beach. We had it to ourselves. We could get drinks. We could go and swimming. We could relax. Like, it was just a very low-key place. And I really enjoyed it after the craziness of the last few days. After we relaxed a little bit more at the beach club, we had our 3-course dinner, and then they had someone come in and teach us traditional Greek dancing. We all got to break a bunch of plates. It was just fun. It was honestly, I feel like, kind of a bonding moment for everyone in the group because we all got to hang out and do this really cool thing. I don't think that was too late. We might have stayed there till like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then we got the private hotel transfer back there, and we all went to sleep. Nothing too crazy. All right, so day 7. This might have been my favorite day of the whole trip. It was our second day in Perros, and it was an all-day boat day. This wasn't the Mykonos boat cruise from EF. This was something, again, our tour director organized. So it was 8 hours, it was all day. It included, I think it might have been about 80 euros, which you think sounds pricey, but it's all day. It's all you can eat, all you can drink. They took us to multiple places all around the island. We got to snorkel, cliff jump, cave, you know, explore underwater caves, just swim around. It was so much fun. We even actually, I can't think of the word for it, but our boat went past, or sailed, that's the word for it. We sailed past Tom Hanks's house, which is where he spent his COVID, you know, 2020 quarantine. It was beautiful. No one seemed to be there, but it was cool to be able to be like, oh my God, that's where he is. So after 8 long hours on the boat, we were all pretty fried. We went back to the hotel and we all, you know, rallied, got ourselves together, got showered, and then we went to the city center of Perros, which was beautiful. My only complaint is I wish we had gone a couple hours earlier because I did feel like it was a bit rushed, but it was gorgeous. Our tour director, you know, had given us some suggestions. She said, I'm going to this place for dinner. You guys are welcome to join if you want to. And we were all like, yes, absolutely. Because it was another rooftop place. It was beautiful. I'm sure it was good food if she was going. So we all went, and I'll put the name of the restaurant right here. It was gorgeous. It had really good vibes. All the guys from our group decided to sit together. They had the best seats in the house, and then all the girls sat together. One of the girls actually got, I never would have tried this, but now I want everyone to try it who goes. It was like fried block of feta cheese, but it was covered in honey and sesame seeds, and it sounds super weird, but I promise you it is amazing. It's so delicious. Highly recommend it. So we got dinner, we got some drinks, and then we, of course, had to get pictures in front of the famous pink door in Perros, and we did some shopping and went to a bar or two, and it was beautiful. Honestly, I think Perros was my favorite island just because it was a little bit more low-key, but that's just personal preference. I'm really glad that I got to see it. But that was a pretty relaxed night. We stayed once again until after the sun went down, and I think we went back to the hotel around 10. All right, day 8. This is when we went to Mykonos. So our ferry was super short. I think it was only like 2 hours. Once we got to Mykonos, of course, we had our private transportation waiting for us. The island, be prepared, does look like a desert until you're by the water or at a city center, so it was kind of shocking to me. I didn't realize how kind of undeveloped the island was until I saw it in person. The new hotel that we stayed at, it was called New Paradise Beach Resort. They had only been open a week when we went. It was gorgeous. You could tell they were just opening, but it didn't really cause any issues for us. My favorite part of the hotel is when you walk up to it, it has an infinity pool overlooking the ocean. It was gorgeous. That was also where you had the breakfast buffet, so it was just beautiful. The hotel was actually right next to a couple of bars and clubs too, one of which we went to. It was one of the top beach clubs in the world. It was only like maybe a 3-minute walk, and you'd think it'd be super loud, but I promise you, you couldn't hear anything at the hotel, which is good because I'm a super light sleeper, and I had no problem with it. So when we got there, we checked in, we got ready to go, and then we had a little motor bus take us from the hotel to the bar. It was only a 3-minute walk, but they were like, oh, why not? You know, it's included. So we went down, we got seats taken care of. We had like a big wraparound couch, and then we got a couple bottles of drinks included with it as well. It was nice. It was relaxing. I don't know if relaxing is the right word. It was a lot of fun. And because it was outside, it wasn't too crazy. I will say my biggest tip is this is a huge beach club. You don't realize how big it is, but it goes, you know, all the way down the beach. And when you first go through the door, you're like, oh, here's a restaurant. We have to sit down to get drinks and food. No, walk past that. They'll have the restaurant, and then you walk past and there's like a little like shop for like beach stuff. And then the next couple storefronts are gonna be little like Euro spots and like soda machines and stuff that you can take to and check out. When we made the mistake and went and sat down at the restaurant, and we looked at the menu, and thankfully they took us a little bit to come back, and we went and left because the price of a euro was $15. Walk maybe 2 minutes away to that other section I was just talking about. A euro was $4 or 4 euros. So it was worth it to walk past it. You just don't get table service, but it was totally worth it to save all of that money. We got a few different things. It was delicious. Really good food. I think we got those euros maybe twice a day. Every day we were in Mykonos. It was so good. So we stayed there until maybe like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then my husband and I went to go back to the hotel because we were super tired. We're not big club people, and we went to sleep. I know a few people in our group stayed out later, and then there was other bars in the area that didn't open until like 11 o'clock, midnight, and they ended up going out to that and staying out. So it was just all preference. All right, so day 9. This was supposed to be our day for the Mykonos boat cruise, but it got canceled due to high winds. Apparently that happens a lot because Mykonos is known for being super, super windy. So no big deal. We actually got to sleep in until like 9 o'clock, which we hadn't all trip. So it was super nice, very rejuvenating. Woke up, went to the infinity pool and got some breakfast, hung out by the pool for a little bit with some of the other people in our group. And then we all decided, you know what, why don't we go to the city center of Mykonos early? Our tour director had offered to help us get there. She had sent in our group message the bus times and the bus stop location, where to go, all of that. It was maybe like a 2 or 3 minute walk from where we were staying, so not strenuous at all, super easy to find. So we all got ready and went there. I think we got to the city center maybe around like 2 o'clock. And it was super worth it because it was pretty dead. Like, a lot of things in Mykonos don't open until later, because that's when everyone, it's, you know, known as a party island. So a lot of people sleep in. So the streets we basically had to ourselves. We took a ton of pictures, relaxed, did some shopping. The rest of our group didn't get there, I don't think, until like 5 o'clock-ish. And by then it was way more crowded. Yeah, it just made the city experience a lot more relaxing. I think the bus to Mykonos was only like €2. It really wasn't bad at all. It was very clear cut, very easy to see when we should have gotten off the bus. Our tour director told us to, but we didn't have to second guess ourselves. And then we were able to take some pictures with the sunset. Our tour director had made reservations at a beautiful restaurant. It's actually this one right here. And we had a delicious dinner. It was really, really good. And the best thing about the restaurant is once the sun started setting, the whole restaurant paused. Like, all the wait staff stopped, all the patrons stopped eating, and everyone like walked out, because it was like on kind of like the water's edge. Everyone walked out and just watched the sunset for like 5 minutes. It was honestly such a sweet moment. I wish it happened more in America, because it just made you realize like you need to stop and appreciate this. It was really nice. The only thing I will say about the restaurant, you know, water in Europe isn't generally free. Which was fine, we were used to that, but we kept getting bottles of water for the table. Wasn't thinking about it. I think each bottle of water was like €10, which kind of came as a shock to all of us. Everyone ended up taking a bottle to pay for it, because they ended up, there were like communal bottles on the tables that we all used. But it's just something to be aware of. So after that sunset, we did a little bit of walking. Since we had already done all the city streets, taken all the pictures, we went and got more gelato, of course, number 1. And then we went to a bar with a couple people and just relaxed. We came back with our tour group. Everyone went back on the private transfer. We went out to the beach bar next to our hotel for maybe like an hour. And again, we're not late night people, so we ended up going back and going to sleep, because we were gonna wake up the next morning and unfortunately head back to Athens for our last day of our trip. All right, so day number 10 on our trip to Greece with EF Ultimate Break. We took the ferry back from Mykonos to Santorini. I think it was only about an hour and a half. Then we had our transportation waiting for us to take us back to the Moxie. We did some shopping, some things that, you know, we hadn't found on other islands, or some things that we saw the first day, and we were like, you know what, we'll get that when we come back so we don't have to carry it around. So we did that, and then we got ready for our farewell dinner, which is something that is also included in every EF Ultimate Break trip. So we went to the farewell dinner. We all got dressed up. It was really sweet. It was, again, like 3 courses, drinks included. We had a show of some really fun guys doing some dancing. They had us dance with them. That farewell dinner is also when a lot of people choose to tip their tour director. It is expected at the end of the trip that you tip them some money. Generally, I think people do around €100, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, but €100 is probably safe. And honestly, they deserve it. They work so hard. They've done so many things for you. They're basically like your mother duck, like you're following them everywhere. It's just, you should do it. After tipping our tour director, she also gave us little gifts, little bracelets and whatnot, and just, you know, said our goodbyes. We took more pictures. Some people went back to the hotel because we all had different departure times depending on when our flights were the next day. So the few people who had later departure times, like myself and my husband, we ended up going out to another like bar restaurant with our tour director. It was super cool. It was like kind of underground. You wouldn't know it was there, and it was like lit up with all these pretty lights, and it was outside, and it was just really nice. So we did that, and then the group of us went back to the hotel, and our tour director went to bed, and we ended up having a couple snacks and drinks in the lobby and just kind of reminiscing about the whole trip. And then we all went to bed, and it was gonna be really depressing knowing we'd have to wake up and leave. So day 11, our last day, or so we thought. We woke up, we got ourselves ready, we were downstairs eating breakfast at the Moxie and got a notification that our flight was canceled. Lucky us. This is where trip insurance comes in handy. My first trip with EF Ultimate Break, I did not get it, and I didn't have to use trip insurance, so I was really lucky in that regard. But this time, we had bought trip insurance just because of everything with COVID. We wanted to be covered. And I'm really glad we did, because our trip got canceled, or our flight got canceled. We got rescheduled for the next day. So we were like freaking out. We didn't know what to do. Thankfully, our hotel let us stay an extra day. We didn't have to switch rooms. And then we were told, you know, keep all receipts from everything we did. So we got reimbursed for the extra night at the hotel, the transport from the hotel to the airport, and all the food we had to eat, spending an extra day there. It did take about 5 months for us to get reimbursed for everything, but that was okay. We weren't in a rush. We were just glad knowing that we were going to get it back. Our hotel, the Moxie, was wonderful because they also called. We were like, we're stranded here for an extra day. Where should we go eat? And then we asked them to schedule a transport from the hotel to the airport, because it is about a 45-minute drive. So we had no idea what to do. They helped us arrange everything. It was super helpful. It took a lot of the stress off. So my husband and I got to spend an extra day in Athens. We ate some good food, and then we were just kind of exhausted from not knowing what was going on, and we had already done our shopping. Everyone was gone. So we just went to sleep, had a long night's sleep, and then we got up super early for our transport. Thankfully, our flights back home were fine, but this is why I will now never travel without trip insurance. It is such a thing to give you a peace of mind. I highly recommend it, just because if anything does happen, you will get reimbursed. You just have to keep your receipts. Alright guys, so that is a breakdown of every single day during my EF Ultimate Break Greek Islands Ultimate Plus tour. I had a great time, can't recommend it enough. We used it as our honeymoon, we liked it that much. Definitely recommend taking it. If you or someone you know is interested in booking their first trip with EF Ultimate Break, book using the link below to activate a discount. You will get a discount on your first trip if you use that link. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, ask any questions you might have. I'm here, happy to help. Thanks guys, happy traveling!